Welcome to Friday Friends, RI Elder Info's weekly look at the organizations and individuals providing resources for Rhode Island seniors, caregivers, and professionals.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It is 9:00 on Friday, and I am Deb Burton, your host of Friday Friends, which streams and podcasts every Friday at 9 a.m. as a show of RI Elder Info. RI Elder Info, as you all know, is a 501c3 nonprofit here in Rhode Island dedicated to getting information and resources that you or someone you know needs to know about. So make sure you hit the like button, the share button, all those social media cues to say, hey, check this out. Because we're going to be talking today about something that is impacting more and more and more of us. And I really want to make sure that people understand the effective way to communicate. Now, as you all know, we are a nonprofit. We could not come on and share information and resources with you every week without the support of our sponsors. So a big thank you to Point 32 Health Foundation, United Health, Neighborhood Health, Oak Street Health, as well as Washington Trust and our most recent sponsor, McCarthy Law. We are really grateful to all of their support that enables us to come on and bring information out to you. So I want to make sure that you have your volume turned up because we're going to talk about communicating with individuals who may be a little bit hard of hearing. Now, you might have seen some of the research out there that there is a link to dementia and difficulty hearing. And the problem is we can't necessarily answer the questions that were asked if we. And so, you just said, wait a minute, it cut out. Well, if I had just asked a question and you didn't hear, you can't answer and you won't answer appropriately. Or if you are having difficulty hearing, you might have only understood a part of the question and answer incorrectly. And so if the information is not coming into your brain, it means your brain can't file that information. And if it can't file that information, this is where your short-term memory can be impacted. So there is a link between different kinds of dementia and hearing loss. So if you're somebody who is experiencing hearing loss, and let me tell you, there's a lot of us out here who are experiencing hearing loss. Some of it has to do with our fabulous headphones that we have plugged in. Some of us attended rock concerts when we were maybe not necessarily younger. Maybe we're still attending those rock concerts. And that impact of that high volume of music or sound has a lasting effect on our ears. And so many of us are experiencing hearing loss that we may not recognize because it's something that happens slowly over time. So here's the interesting thing. I want to point out a couple things that are really important when you are speaking with someone who may have a hearing loss. Could be an older adult, but not necessarily an older adult. So it's really important that you speak clearly and enunciate, but don't over enunciate because we read lips. It makes it seem very strange and very hard. Now, if I do this and you can't see me speaking, all of a sudden it just got much more difficult for you to hear what I'm saying because we really do read lips as we go along. So knowing that we are reading lips as part of what we're communicating as we speak, imagine how hard it could be if you are someone who is sitting in the doctor's office or in front of their clinician, their social worker, caseworker, banker, and the person that you're speaking to or speaking with and trying to share information is experiencing you doing this. Oh, yeah, I have to do this. And all of a sudden, it becomes much more difficult to follow what the person is saying. How many of you just hit rewind to figure out what on earth Deb is doing, right? So that's really important. The other thing, too, is if you're in an environment where an individual may have an assistive hearing device, so a hearing aid, the hearing aids there are several different kinds. So some of the hearing aids will amplify all of the sound and direct that right in. And for some individuals with the devices they have, it can make it sound. Let's see if I can do this with my microphone. There we go. Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Now imagine that you have a hearing aid and there's things going on in the back. There are people typing. There are people talking. There are silverware clacking. And now all of a sudden it makes it so much harder to hear and understand. And for you, those of you, when you are out in the community, it's really important that you understand what other information could be being inputted for that person that you're speaking to. Again, another reason to make sure that you're making eye contact. Now, one of the things that has come up during COVID that I've noticed is we're so accustomed to talking to people on Zoom or online. And when we're online, where do we look? We look at ourselves on the camera. And did you see? I'm guilty of it myself. Did you see that my eyes shifted? And I'm looking down at myself. So sometimes if you're in person, that can make it really challenging for folks to understand that you're really speaking directly to them. So very important pieces to keep in mind when you're communicating with people, because if you're trying to explain, you want to take 2 pills once a day and this 1 pill twice a day, you want to make really sure that the person can hear you and is able to understand what you're saying. Because if it's a situation that you think, oh, I'm just going to talk really loud, it makes it so much easier for people to hear. It doesn't. Did you notice that my voice distorted? It made it a lot harder for you to hear, even though the volume was turned up. And so it's really important that you not yell. And like I said, don't over enunciate. These days, there's so much miscommunication going on out there. It's really important that we pay attention to how we are talking to people when we're talking to people. If there's a concern that perhaps there's a language barrier or a significant hearing loss and the individual perhaps does not have their assistive hearing device, there are apps on your phone, both Apple and Android, that allow you to text conversations back and forth to make it easier to communicate and understand each other. There are other free assistive devices out there through the Office of Rehab Services and the ATEL program that allow the print to come up on the screen. If you are giving a presentation with PowerPoint, because I know some of my viewers are the professionals who are out there, PowerPoint now allows you to do an auto transcribe on the screen, much in the way closed captioning happens on this stream itself. And PowerPoint has the ability to do that as well. And PowerPoint can also change the language, which I thought was really pretty neat. So it's really important that when we're communicating, you want to make sure, can you hear me physically, visually, as well as understand that I'm speaking to you and not everything else in the world. So every Friday, I come on along with guests sometimes, and sometimes it's me, to bring you information that you or someone you care about needs to know about. And this one has come up, the hearing issue has come up quite frequently in the last week or so for individuals that I've been speaking with. And I thought, this is a really good topic to bring on Friday Friends. You'll also notice on this Friday Friends, just for my my demonstration purposes, you can see my microphone and see how that alters the sound. Yeah. So I'm thinking of you guys always. I look forward to seeing you all again next week. In the meantime, Be well and be kind. Bye-bye.
If you liked this video, please follow us on social media and subscribe on YouTube. For more information, visit rielderinfo.com or call 401-585-05